We are live. I knew the second you dipped down that was when we were going to be live. Like I just clicked a button and then you ducked. So we're live and you were like ducking. It's awesome. Hey, if you're watching live, we're here with you too. I'm super excited to hear this. We put a surprise. And some of you, if you've been watching our social media, you probably had an idea of what we were doing. And we are, yes, in fact, celebrating Becky and her book launch because it's out. It's already a #1 bestseller on Amazon. I'm assuming you're paying attention to that, but I noticed that this morning. So that's super excited. So we're going to celebrate Becky here. We're going to chat about the book and the response you've gotten so far, how you're feeling right now, the expedition you're about to go on, all of that stuff. If you are watching with us, drop in the comments. Let us know, what are you doing today? What are you dropping in? Are you still in school? Are you on some break now? What's going on? What questions do you have for Becky? And at the very least, just throw some green hearts in there and help us celebrate. We'll be back in about 1 minute. Well, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. It's still it's a beautiful day here in Virginia. It's hot. It's perfect for science, of course. It's perfect for exploring and being outside. So everything's great. And my book right now is Amazon 1 and 2. Well, 2. So that's awesome. I love that. Hey, Brad. So it's
amazing.
Great over here. How are you, Jeff?
I'm awesome. This is one of my favorite things that we get to do is when we get to celebrate people doing cool stuff. Like it's probably the thing I like most about my job, if you can call this thing a job. I love this. It's super exciting. I remember when our book came out, like just the feeling of that and stuff. Like, so I'm just like feeling it with you right now, and I'm like all excited and then seeing the response and all the love on social. I'm like, this is awesome. I'm so happy right now. So I'm super excited for that. So when I guess you kind of already got in, like, what's going through your head right now? What is are you shocked by the support you're getting? Is it certain things that like, I know a lot of people don't have the book yet. Obviously they're just ordering it, right? So no one's reading it yet, right? So like when you get to that point where people start posting the pictures and holding it, that's when it's going to just like, oh, it's going to get you. But like, what's the response been so far of just people who are now seeing that this book is out and it's available and stuff? What are you getting right now from people?
I am overwhelmed because it's been amazing. There are so many people out there from every corner of my life that are here and they're cheering me on and they're sending screenshots of, hey, I ordered it. Oh, it's coming Thursday. Or they're text messaging me or calling me, and it's beautiful. And so when you write a book, you have this great idea and you're like, oh, I've got this book. It's going out, and like hopefully people will read it and hopefully people will notice that it's in existence. And then when it comes, like for me yesterday, it was all of my friends and family coming out of the woodwork and saying, oh my gosh, we saw this. Oh my gosh. And so I feel like I've been on the verge of tears for so many reasons, because it's beautiful to have so many people cheering you on and to feel like I did write a book and people are also excited about it. I'm not just excited. Other people are excited. So it's amazing. No one else has the book. Well, Kindle readers,
Kindle readers can get it. You can get it right away. Yeah.
You're seeing it before I do. So I'm really jealous. My friends that are sending me screenshots on their Kindle, and I'm like, where's my copy? So
a lot of people don't realize that. Well, first off, if you're in the comments, like, let's see some green hearts for Becky. Keep showing her love. Like she's overwhelmed. She'll take it. It's good. But a lot of people don't realize that, like, as an author, like you don't get the book before the date either. Like like it, or like it, you have to wait until the printing starts, which is when it releases. Unless you do like a pre-order, where then you might be able to do it. But not many. You don't typically do pre-order unless you're trying to hit a bestsellers, like because you're a mega star somewhere, right? So you don't get it until after that. It was the same thing with us. Ours came fairly quick, so I know there's that time window. DBC is pretty good at it, like, hey, like it's going to be a while, but like hopefully it'll come sooner. But also, like, here's the crazy part about the book is that, and I've been fortunate enough to be along with you in some form or fashion, like this whole journey of you with the book. But a lot of people, like, how long ago did this start? Like, this isn't like you wrote it over the last couple months, right? So take us back there, because I don't remember exactly when, but like, when was it that you decided you wanted to write it? When was it that you started pitching it? When was it that you got the contract, and then like the book's been done for a while, because obviously then there's wait time and everything like that? Can you kind of like, let's go way back in time, that whole thing? And I'd love for you to share like your emotional roller coaster the whole time too, because that's been, dare I say, fun? I don't know if fun's the right word.
That is a descriptor.
That's true.
So let me take you back. It's probably at least 3 years ago, I just started blogging, and just, something happens in school, something happens in my class. Maybe it's a major win. Maybe it's a major fail, which most of the time that is what it is, right? It's a failure and you learn from it. And I wanted to share those things out to a broader audience. And actually, Adam Welcome at the time had pushed me to start a blog. And he said, hey, I know you've started a blog, but I want you to get serious and start really writing more. And I want you to write and write and write. And little did I know that Adam was coaching me into the process of writing a book. So after I started getting super serious about that, and I was writing and writing and writing and pushing content out, that's when, again, Adam Welcome came back and said, so when are you going to pitch a book idea? And I was like, I guess since you're saying Adam Welcome, I should write a book. And so that was about 3 years ago. And so I started thinking about what I wanted to write about. And naturally, if you know anything about me, I teach K-5 science. And when I'm not in the classroom or outdoor classroom, I go out in the field and I do field science. And so I thought, well, that's pretty cool. So maybe I should write a book about that, and how to take the field and bring it into classrooms, and how to energize and empower learners and educators to do the same thing, or to just rethink how we teach science. And if you're not teaching science, to teach science. And so that's kind of what happened about 3 years ago. And about a year and a half ago, I got the courage to talk to the team at DBC, to Dave and Shelly, and I pitched the idea to them. And I've never shared this story. I pitched the idea to Dave first, and then it was to Dave and Shelly as a duo. But as I was talking to Dave Burgess, if you know him, one of his passions is magic. And so I have a shirt that says, not this one, but it says, "Science is like magic, but real." And I should have known my audience. I should not have worn that shirt to pitch my idea to Dave Burgess, but I did. And so, luckily he took that shirt and he said, you know what? I don't like it. I showed it off to him and I was like, oh, Dave, look at my awesome shirt. And he was like, no. Let's talk about your story.
Not a good start to your pitch at that point.
Yes. Yeah. So I had to quickly recover. So that was another example of failing and recovering in the moment. So you're welcome. I've never told anyone that story. So luckily, Dave gave me a second chance, and we kept going with the process. So that was about a year and a half ago. And last year in February is when I officially was given a contract. I think it was February 25th that I was given a contract, and I signed it. And since then, I've been writing and writing and writing. And the process for writing a book is intense. It's a lot of writing. It's a lot of editing. It's a lot of hearing feedback that sometimes you're prepared for and sometimes you're not. And but it's all to make you better. And so the entire time it was constantly going back and forth. What do you think about changing this? What do you think about, let's take that chapter out? Or, can you rephrase this in a different way? And along the way, it can be frustrating, but it's all for that end goal to be the best possible book or best possible message to come out. So that's so here we
So
are. Yesterday was
when you pitched, when you had that meeting with Dave, at that time, had you written any of the book, or was it just an idea in your head at that point? Where were you at in that process?
so at that point, my first meeting with Dave was, I have this idea for a book, and I had maybe started writing a couple chapters. I think maybe I had three. I had three kind of samples so that he could at least see my writing.
Gotcha. Yep.
But then after that meeting, he asked me to write a little bit more and send more to both he and me, so they could do more and get a better feel for my vision for the book. And so, so when you have an awesome idea, it's great to just start drafting. What do you think is going to go into that book? So you kind of craft your message. And I think blogging is really, really great for that. So Adam Welcome was like on point with that.
Adam's good at that. Yeah. You're not the first person I've heard the story that Adam Welcome tricked me into writing a book. He's really good at that. And you mentioned Dave and Dave's passion. Dave. A lot of people don't realize how like that Dave's a magician and he's really good at that. But one of Dave's passions, and I think one of Dave's superpowers, is his ability to help and guide and encourage and kind of pull out your, what he calls your manifesto, right? Like your story, your truth, your passion through that. That's one of the things he's really good at. And for me, hearing that story is funny because if he was offended by that shirt, what got him past there is that he saw that manifesto in you and he wanted that, right? And that's what this book is. It's so much of that. And so I think that's why it was such a great fit with DVC for that, because that really is one of Dave's. I really think that's his superpower, is his ability to do that with his authors. So all right, so you get the contract, you write in, you get the feedback. The book's been done for a while, right? Because there's this whole like process after the book is done, right? There's the editing and formatting, and that's sort of part of it, because sometimes there's rewriting, whatever. But then there's now we're finalizing the designs, and some of that's back and forth. And even when it's all done, and you're like, yes, it's all done, there's no more decisions. It's like, all right, now you go in the queue, like, because we got to wait, because that doesn't mean it releases tomorrow. Like, we got to put this all together. So tell me about that sort of feeling, because you've got this sort of deadline that was creeping up because you're about to go on an expedition, which I'm going to ask you about after this. But so how I know that is I don't want to say frustrating, because I don't know if that's the right word. It's just there's a lot of anxiety because you're excited about it, but you have to wait, and there's things you got to do and all this. Like, how good does it feel now to be like, like I got through all that, it's out now? Like,
yeah. That patience is not a strong suit for me. So I think mid-February is when the book was turned in, and we had decided on a cover, and we decided on a font, and we decided all of these things that go into making a book. And when you have it, you'll see it's not just the cover that has this beautiful art, but inside there are these beautiful touches of the art that's inside as well. Yeah. So it's a process. So it's been since February that really everything was ready to go. And at that point I'm thinking like, oh, I turned it in February 15th. Surely it's going to be out by the end of February, right? Because everything's done, but it's not, right? So there's all these other pieces that go into it. And that was it was a time of a lot of anxiety, for sure. I called so many people, Jeff being one of them, and Ray, and I know I called Adam, and I know I've called all kinds of people, or sent text messages like, oh my gosh, it's really hard to wait. And what everyone kept saying, including Dave Schmittou, who I see in there, we're just saying, you know what? We know what that feels like, but just trust that whenever your book shows its face to the public, it's going to feel amazing. It feels great now to be finished, but it's going to be even better, and it's going to feel fantastic when it's gone, or when it's out there. And so it took a lot for me to just calm down and trust the process. And I just took advantage of leaning into my friends, because that's what friends are for, right? You lean into them when you need some cheering. You lean into them when you need a fire under your bottom. You lean into them for all of the good and not so great parts. So that if anyone is thinking about writing a book, or you're in the process and you just submitted your final manuscript and you're thinking, when is my book ever going to come out? Lean into your friends, call me, text me, find me on social media. I'll talk you through it as well, because it's full of anxiety, but it's so incredible. Yesterday was like surreal for me to see my book online and to see people pouring out love. And then even today, still hearing from other people about the book and, oh, I ordered it. It's coming tomorrow. Today's Wednesday. Yes. So Thursday, a lot of people have told me their book is showing up Thursday. Mine's supposed to go up tomorrow as well. So once we have them in our hands, I think my tears are definitely going to come then, because the actual physical product's going to be in my hand. So yeah.
So I have the cover up on there, and this is on Amazon. So tell me about the cover. You mentioned, bringing it to me. I'm super just honored that I was someone that you brought that to, but I got to see a lot of different versions of it, a lot of the different, as the cover was coming together, and then even more so as the fonts there was a lot of different options for that and stuff like that. Like, when you look at that cover, like, what are you, I don't want to say feeling, because I think we know what you're feeling, but like, see, like, what does it cover? Like, how, I think it just speaks to what the book is so well, but tell me what your thoughts are on that. Why you settled and you're like, yep, that's the right one.
Yeah. Okay. So the tears are coming. You got me, Jeff. You got me with
I'm
the
working
cover.
on it. I'm working on it.
So this cover is, I feel like it is the illustration of my identity. Honestly, you might recognize, usually I was joking with Jeff before we went live that my hair's down today, which is so unusual, especially because I teach outside. My hair is usually up, just like the person kind of in the center of that cover, which you might guess is supposed to represent me. And so this whole entire cover, it's set in the jungle, because I go to the Peruvian Amazon every summer to do field work. And so what I really wanted, and what I was describing to the editing team and to the illustrator that we eventually hired, who was amazing, was I want it to feel like this is the jungle inviting you in, because that's me. That's my identity, is really being in the jungle and doing field work. And so this whole thing, every single piece of this, every color, every character, I swear to you, every millimeter of this cover has a purpose and has a meaning. And I think that's why I didn't fight, but I fought hard to have my cover look this way, because this isn't typical. Usually a professional development book doesn't look like this. This looks more, like a children's book. And I think one of the concerns was, Becky, if we put this out there, people are going to think this is a children's book. And I'm like, but if they know me, they're going to look at this and go, that's Becky. I know that's her. This is 100% all about her message and who she is. So my challenge to anyone who is getting the book and reading it is to look closely, often, back at the cover and figure out what all of those things mean. A lot of the stories inside of the book connect to something on the cover. So when I tell you everything has a meaning, it does. It does. The general theme is jungle, and I already gave you that secret, right? It's not really a secret. I work in the Amazon, so not Amazon the company, the Amazon. So
I'm excited to see the tweets and Instagram stories and stuff with people like circling a spot on the cover and then telling you what part of the book it connects to. I think that's going to be a fun piece of that. So, so we mentioned a couple times about you do expeditions, you do field work and stuff. So I want to talk about that, and it's not. I mean, I was gonna say it's not connected to the book, but it is, because it's you. Like, and there's so much in the book from that. But like, you're about to go on another one, like really super soon. Tell us about Iceland and where you're going. Like, who you going with? Like, what that's a part of, and then what's that going to be like? What are you expecting?
Yes. Oh my gosh. So last summer, I think we all know, I didn't go on any expeditions. I was supposed to go on 4, and one of them was to Iceland for the first time. And so that didn't happen last year. So this year I'm going. So I'm going to Iceland actually 2 weeks from now. I will be knee deep in Icelandic culture. I am going for a 9-day expedition that is focused. It's with GeoCamp Iceland, and so you can Google that. It's a great expedition, professional development for educators. So that's about 9 days. I'm going to study geothermal energy, geology, and global climate change indicators. But before that piece of the expedition, I'm going early, about a week and a half, to try. My idea is to circumnavigate the country, because the expedition that I'm going with a team on is just one small part of Iceland. And so if I'm going to go, I want to see the whole thing, right?
Going.
Explore. So I'm going a little early to explore on my own some culture and just take in everything that Iceland has to offer.
So you're doing that just you, like just you on your own, just going?
So I'm going, actually, another teacher who's on the later expedition, she's going early too. And for right now, we're strangers. We have typed emails to each other, so we're going to get to know each other really well. We're renting a camper van, and we're trekking around Iceland. And then we'll do our formal expedition with GeoCamp Iceland. And then I'm staying 4 days after to do anything that I missed beforehand.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so for sure, I'm going to be snorkeling between two continental plates, two tectonic plates, which is super exciting. So that's my plan. And usually this is how my expeditions happen often, is I have a formal expedition, but then I sandwich it with, what am I not going to see? I'm going to go on my own, and I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go study that. So it's very, very exciting.
That's really cool. So tell me, we just have a few minutes left because you need to teach today. So tell me about your teaching, because you're inside right now. I'm like, well, you're not in your classroom because your classroom's outside.
Yeah.
So share that, because I'm not sure everybody realizes that your classroom's outside, which is super cool. So tell me about that, your classroom, what that's like.
Yeah, so I teach kindergarten through 5th grade science, and this year I flipped my classroom, not with technology, but with the outdoors. And that was always a plan for me. I spent a lot of time teaching outside, but not full time. And so when the pandemic hit, I had already in my mind wanted to flip my model. And the pandemic, I just looked at the universe and I was like, got it. Thank you. Go ahead. This is happening. And so this last school year, I taught exclusively outside. We have a little courtyard on our campus, and that just wasn't really being used. And so that's my classroom. So everything that I taught, and I teach every discipline of science in kindergarten through 5th grade. And so one of the challenging parts was, you teach lab chemistry, and being outside, I had to rethink what I was doing. But if you think about what you can do rather than what you can't, or your limitations, which is a big part of the book, what can I do? Not what I can't possibly do, but what can I do? I flipped chemistry, and we studied chemistry and chemical reactions in elements through soil. So that's not something that I would typically have done, but there was an opportunity to teach outdoors exclusively. So I took it and I ran with it. And the kids this year, my scientists, not my kids, my scientists were so much more, not that they weren't engaged before, because they were, but something about being outside and something about investigating just their local community made it even more authentic. And they were like, oh, chemistry doesn't have to happen in a lab. It's happening in the soil. What? Can we dig? Can we? You're like, yes, you can. Let's go do that right now. Let's talk about chemistry and what it looks like really in the real world. So being outdoors was awesome. There were maybe 5 days during the school year that I had to be inside, like torrential downpour with lightning.
Sure.
It was so cold and rainy that my kids couldn't do it. So we came inside, but so that's been an adventure on its own. And really, when you read the book, there's not that much about what I've done this year in particular. There's a little bit, but instead of trying to shove all that in this book, this first book, I think there's going to be a sequel somewhere all about being outdoors. But I also, if you're interested in outdoors, I have a National Geographic grant called the Outdoor Education Collective. And our website is literally outdooreducationcollective.com. And we're sharing our journey. There's 3 of us. I'm the principal investigator, and we are sharing all of our ideas of how we use the outdoors, and other educators' ideas of how they use the outdoors. So it's like two whole completely different projects, but I might be a little passionate about it. So
just a little bit. Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm going to throw up, because I know they can get a lot of that. They can grab a lot of that on your website too. So there's your site, and then obviously your handle on all the social media. And I've had the book scrolling across the bottom, because you can obviously grab that on Amazon there and stuff too. So, any last thoughts from you? Because I want to let you go so you can go teach. So excited for you. This has been so much fun to watch it happen, and to see you get all this praise. And I was super pumped that I got to be the one to come on today. So just so you know, typically my Wednesdays are blocked off with my kids, and Ray's like, hey, like, Becky's free to do it at this time. I'm like, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get there. I'm like, I've got it. Like, I got it. Put my hand up really high. Because I'm so pumped. I'm so happy for you. This is so cool. So last thoughts. I mean, let me ask you this question. I think this would be a good kind of last thought of this is, and you've sort of touched on this a little bit, but I'm not a science teacher. I'm a math teacher. I'm an ELA teacher. I'm a principal. I'm a superintendent. I'm a curriculum director. Is this book really for me because it says science?
Yes. Yes, the book is for you for 100 reasons, but I'll give you some short ones. So first, you might not be a science teacher, but you're teaching science. Just like I'm not a math teacher, but guess what? Great teachers teach every single subject seamlessly together. It's like a beautiful tapestry. It all comes together. So yes, you are a science teacher, and yes, this book is for you. If you're an administrator or a superintendent somewhere, yeah, this is a fantastic book for you to read and re-energize yourself in the world of education, because I bet if you are an administrator, a science educator, right? Because all teachers are science teachers. But literally, if you have a science teacher in your building or your district, this is a great opportunity for you to just read other ideas and see if something sticks for you. Is there some sort of spark in the book that you're like, oh man, I wonder if they've heard of this, or myself, how can I use these ideas as an administrator? Because the book it goes across curriculum. Of course, it has a science spin, because that's me, right? That's my identity, but it is usable across the board. So I would challenge you to just check it out and see if it is for you. Maybe it's not, but I'm not going to almost, I guarantee that you'll find something in the book that you're like, yes, that right there.
Yeah. I think at the one of the themes in the book is that focus on what you can do, not what you can't. And I think regardless of the stories that Becky uses to share that and display that, flip that to your classroom or to your building or to your district or to your community, and it's the same. You can still flip that into those things. So, Becky, congratulations. It's getting awesome reviews already, and people aren't even reading it yet, so that's awesome. I cannot wait for you to get those pictures and start seeing them all over social media, people holding the book. Can't wait for mine to get here, which is supposed to be tomorrow as well. So super excited. Thanks for sharing so much today with us and in the middle of your school day. So I appreciate that a whole lot. And you can go get it on Amazon right now, so make sure you go grab it as soon as possible. And maybe you'll get yours before Becky, which is going to be a lot of fun when she gets those pictures and she doesn't have hers yet. So, and you can get it on Kindle right now, and you can get right into it, dive right into it. So, Becky, appreciate you so much. So happy for you. If you've been watching, thanks for chiming in. Thanks for the comments. And if you're watching after, make sure you go get the book as well. Appreciate y'all. We'll see ya.